ल म DRS ले हाने ल दुई चिकन भयो जस्तो लाग्यो DRS
Reach your impossible, Lenovo Legion.
The highly anticipated addition to the Mummy series outfits is here. Paired with the new Ice Tube Glider, the Polar Spectrophage set is just what you need to freeze your enemies. Or send them ablaze with the Inferno Feed set's new upgradable Chain Inferno Uzi. All the Mummy outfits are back. Get them all. Join now and collect the whole series to turn all eyes on the battleground. Event period, July 10th, 2025 through September 2nd, 2025.
Are you ready? Three, two, one, go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, you smashed it.
One thing is for certain, there is an abundance of fans here in the arena. Influence Rage, talk to me. How has the performance from the team been so far?
I think we can do better.
Do better.
Yeah, we can do better.
Well, you're currently sat in the area of the crowd where all of the Team Falcons fans are. Is it a little bit scary for you?
Yeah, so yeah.
Well, is there anything you want to say to the Influence Rage team right now? They need your support.
Let's go, Inf. I believe it. I believe. Let's go.
You believe in Influence Rage?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do it. Let's find out whether or not they can.
Well, it wasn't Influence Rage that got the win, but it was DRX being able to get the... It wasn't the back-to-back. It was the two-time winners of day one of PMWC at EWC 25. A big surprise, honestly. I was not expecting any teams to be able to get 2 chicken dinners in the first day. they were able to do it, Max.
Yeah, it was a back, break, to back. It just took a little break in the middle of that one. But a really good execution from them, playing it relatively safe on their side. Same for WBG. There was a lot of circle luck involved, I would have to say. A lot of teams that really didn't have to fight too hard for it compared to like an Influence Rage. They were just like, we're just going to try and do something. Same for Yangon Galactico. So you had two options. Teams just like fighting to just survive, and teams just like, we're big chilling today. And they were.
Well, we've been wanting to talk about DRX. Another team that we've been wanting to talk about has been none other than Weibo. So let's go to the SMB head-to-head, DRX versus Weibo Gaming. And I mean, look at the damage that these two teams were able to put up, Natura.
Wow, that is actually a lot of damage, considering we didn't see anything from Weibo in that first half of the game at all. Like, completely silent from them. At all, yes. But I think it was just a really interesting game for them because they stacked up really, really close together. I think they were almost all in one shack, which is very risky, but it did work out. And then as soon as there was space around them to actually move and play, they actually spread out. They took control. They had a 3-1 split with an anchor in the field just to make sure things were moving smoothly. And it really, really worked in their favor, just able to spread out slowly, bit by bit, very steadily. There was nothing untoward. There's nothing overextending, nothing aggressive. But just by sheer movement, they were able to get that second place really well.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree on that one. I think they had a really good setup just to make sure we don't have a weak point behind us, right? Making sure you talk about that field angle, just make sure that no team is going to try and go for that wide rotate south or east to try and backstab you as possible. So very defensive play here, and because of that, they would get a second place with 16 points on the board. So very happy to see China here getting a big game.
And I'm pretty sure V2K is still going to be telling his team, we need to do better. Even though they ended up in fourth place there with those 9 points, one team that did end up doing better that I'm happy to see here in the first page, Max, is Regnum Karya Esports with 8 points, 6 of them coming from eliminations.
Yeah, actually a very, very big fight in the center versus, I think it was Fireflux. It's like, we're both from Turkey, guys. Let's be homies. Like, no, there's no peace between us right now. We have to fight for this position. A very good send onto Fireflux because you might say, well, the high ground position is just flat. Actually, you do have a slight dip, and you just need to make sure you clear that area first, and then you just zone teams away, which they were trying to do. It wasn't a game-winning position. It was a position where you could get a ticket to a good top 5 position, which I think they understood that. We're not going to win this match. Let's just try and go as far as we can and get a few eliminations, especially.
Yeah, I will say, though, as well, is that Regnum Karya in that 5th place, but the top 4 teams were all edge teams. That was something that I noticed in this game in particular. Everybody kind of just crashed to the center, except a few teams, and it was those teams that ended up getting that top 4 spot, at least in points wise, at least in that match ranking, right? So this game was very heavily sided onto those teams that actually held off from that original fight and just kept it to the edge, kept that quiet space until the end game.
I mean, there was one team that you wanted to point out too in regards to Team Secret. They had a 1-2 split for the longest time.
Yeah, they did. They really, I'm surprised they survived as long as they did, because like, you had a one player off into the hills right in the middle of where all that action was happening. And then you had the 2 off into the field just like hanging off, just checking out, making sure they got that placement. I'm surprised that worked as long as they did, because I think they got like top 6, top 7 out of that.
The game plan there is similar to what happened for Regnum Karya. We know we're not winning this game.
Yeah.
They just play very split. Whoever survives, survives.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like a mini battle royale in the battle royale for your own team. And they do have at least 2 players survive until the very end. And as you said, like maybe a top 6 position, get a few points here and there.
Yeah.
So they knew this game was kind of a ride-off. They were able to claim at least a few points. So it's not a non-game for them to at least get something of value out of it. You can even see as the replays here. DRX, the moment they start getting eliminations on WBG, they just claim so much control that WBG just fell like a house of cards instantly.
Yeah,
I like that quickness, right? We always talk about
So
these
quick.
teams being able to react. Boy, did they end up reacting quick. And if we rewind it a little bit more towards the beginning of the match, a big surprise that we saw was Alpha 7 fully send it to E-Arena. E-Arena, though, they were able to defend it pretty good. And Alpha 7, ultimately, Korea just coming out on top.
Cario is like, that smoke means nothing. I can see right through it. Like, he had laser eyes. I don't know what happened to Cario. He got like LASIK surgery or something because he's got 10 out of 10 vision on both eyes. Yeah. He was able to then survive that one a little bit. He sent it to the center. That was quite unfortunate that he did get picked off, but hey, the thing is, even the IGL, right? A lot of people, the IGL sometimes is the weakest fragger. No, like Cario can bring the heat. He can clutch up against E-Arena. So Alpha 7, if it's a full squad or a duo on that Rangolf earlier or a solo, they're always a threat in this lobby.
I mean, you got to remember, Carrillo did start off as a fragger. That's what he was known for. And now he has become the IGL for one of the best teams in the world. And talking about the best teams in the world, currently 4 Thrives. wanting to become that, as they're still sitting at the top there with 44 points, Neptura.
I'm just looking, and actually, they are on top. You are exactly right. I can confirm. But what I'm looking at is actually DRX moving in. We had a big gap before this game, and DRX have managed to just smash right through that, double their placement points with that extra win. And now they are kind of threatening Four Thrives' position at this point in time. I will say though, just over halfway point, Max, none of our power rankings are looking particularly accurate at this point.
Yeah, as of right now, our prediction game is very off, which I would say is on
pretty bad.
I wouldn't talk about it too much, but Yangon Galacticos, I was not really expecting much, but they are such an aggressive, oppressive team going into this. They're not scared of going for fights, which I like to see, because a lot of times you see underdogs just being a little bit too scared in lobbies like this. Like, we don't want to fight, we purely want to get placement points. No, Yangon Galacticos, if they see a team that have a very clear weakness, they will not be scared to go for that engagement on that position. So Yangon Galacticos, seeing them be this confident early on is a very good setup for what's coming next.
I mean, and they showed it right away. They showed it from the start.
Yeah.
One thing, though, for everybody currently watching at home, from July 25th to the 27th and August 1st to the 3rd, log in to Summon Airdrops and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers to enter prize draws for official merchandise, smartphones, BB partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win. Additionally, from July 25th to the 31st, vote for your favorite airdrop partner for a chance to receive a special gift from them. I'm going to be doing it. Max is going to be doing it. Neptura is going to be doing it. Don't miss this year's airdrop carnival and unbox your surprise, because we're all going to be doing it, and I can't wait to see what surprises we're going to be unboxing, especially when we go to Miramar. And I kind of want you to go with the Dr. Suleiman Al-Habib hot take. Are we going to be getting any hot drops, Max?
Well, there's actually a lot of teams dropping in El Pozo, so I would say yes. El Pozo hot drop specifically is going to be happening.
El Pozo? Okay. All right. Neptura?
Yes. To answer your question?
Okay. Right
Yes.
on. Yes.
What a hot take. Wow.
Yes. My other hot take was that Miramar is hot. Spicy. It's going to be spicy.
Should we just ban her from
I think we should just... I'm going to ban myself at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not good.
No.
Now, at one point, going back to that last match, though, I think you mentioned something in regards to Four Thrives. Is there anything you wanted to mention about them? Because it was a lackluster match considering that big gap that they had.
I think they were just too hesitant in that last game. They didn't know where to go. Honestly, they didn't have many options left to them. Maybe with Miramar being a bigger space, they'll be able to actually have those more options in a tricky zone, but we need to see a little bit more proactiveness from them.
They did have a surprise though, Max. Fireflux came in from military base, and I think that they were not expecting that.
Actually, they didn't even really encounter each other, but they know this typically the pressure might rotate. There's going to be Fireflux. There was power earlier, so they're not being also completely careless because Alpha Gaming's not here. They're like, they might be a team, let's be a little bit respectful, but Alpha Gaming's going to be the real competition when they do encounter Group Green eventually later on down the line. But they were very cautious, but I do have to fully echo what you were saying here, Neptura, on this game. Very hesitant. I don't care if you go for a good or bad play decision. Commit to it as a full team. Your odds of being successful are way higher if you just send it on a big play. And you know what? Your sheer bragging power that we know Four Thrives have might be enough to just tear down any team they go up against.
Well, I think and the team that we were all looking for them to actually go after was going to be Weibo, and if that would have happened, if they would have came out on top of that fight, guess what? It would have been a top 2 guaranteed. But you know what? I'm excited to see what's going to be happening here in Miramar. Let's send it over to Reflections and John Allen.
The tables keep on turning, and we will not stop. We're 1 and 2 more revolutions going around Miramar for 2 times, 2 laps of the desert to see us out of the first day of games here with our first 2 groups on play. We've seen some miraculous turnarounds from these matches. DRX holding the nerve on the northeast side. We've seen Alpha 7 holding the riverbanks right now. But what will the desert have in store for us?
That's the question, isn't it? It's going to be a really good time as DRX take over second place after a tremendous win. They've won 2 out of the 4 games today. Question is, what can they do for the first time on Miramar? A map where teams start to wake up, more specifically from the Americas region. Influence Rage do very, very well on Miramar. Alpha 7 as well. I've seen them drop 20-plus elimination games on Miramar. That would be insanity if they do it here. But top 8 is what they're shooting for currently. Top 6, still very healthy. But you want to finish off day strong. You want to finish off, in top 8. Doing so will then set you up very nicely going into your next group stage matches. We've got a pretty standard playing path, which means we shouldn't see too many crazy drops.
Yeah, we are going to be fairly fair on the start of this Miramar here. In terms of achieving that top 8 towards the end of this tournament, right, well, the first league stage rather of this tournament, you're going to be looking, as we said, during that last match, probably around the 80-point margin, which sits you at 6 2/3 point average if you're doing specific exact maths. So if you're looking to get above that, you want to be putting up 7-8 points average, right, to feel a little bit more comfortable when it comes towards those later games, if you're able to keep that up. So over these first 4 matches, you're going to be looking up towards the mid-30s right now, to be looking a little bit more healthy. Obviously 32 points would be really nice, but not too many teams have been able to break that 30-point barrier just yet. However, it is always more dramatic, the curve of the point scoring going over this one. A pretty dramatic circle shift as well, coming through, all the way down to the south side here.
I said standard, well, it's not going to be. We go all the way down low to the south, which for all those rosters who are still up in the air, right, going to their original POI, their landing POI, now have to rotate towards the south, which, of course, you know there's going to be a lot of competition going your way. And so, well, for Hora Alpha 7, maybe going to run into a bit of a scuffle for Team Vision. They've got the longest travel all the way up towards the top side, but that's just the way it goes. It's going to be relatively slow until the very end. But for DRX, another great position inside stage number 1, which could put them in an amazing spot to potentially win 3 out of the 5 games today.
That would be pretty incredible. And the fact that there's 2 chicken dinners and they're not in first place is kind of miraculous. But, you know, that's just how Fourth Thrives like to play it. And Fourth Thrives didn't have a great game last time around. So DRX certainly have stiff competition, letting themselves down on those non-winning games, right? And when we talk about averages, you really have to look at these lower performing games. And for DRX, that is what is currently dragging them down. They would be miles ahead of the field. Doing miles for your benefit, of course. You know,
I appreciate your freedom units, baby.
Absolutely. But they would be absolutely streets ahead of everybody else in this lobby if they could bring up those averages. I always give this comparison, right? You can look to earn 12 more points in one match, or you can look to earn 1 more point in 12 matches. And it is if you could do that every single time consistently, that will build up to the same result. Sure, you can look for those 18 elim chicken dinners, or you can look to put 2 more points on average every single game. And those are the small differences that really start to bring up these averages that really power you through these tournament stages.
It goes back to that consistency conversation, right? You can have a great flash in the pan game, but if you only have 1 out of the 12 games you're playing in group stage, that's incredible. Yeah, you'll be up 40+ points, and well, then it starts to dwindle away. And by the time you reach the final game of your group play, now you're in trouble. You've got to go for another Hail Mary attempt, and well, it might not work out, and typically it doesn't. So you'd rather average a better position than, of course, have just a good flash in the pan play. By the way, thank you once again for doing the miles. We were talking kilometers the other day, and I'm trying to think to myself, what's the conversion rate from kilometers to miles to teaspoons? I couldn't tell you because I don't even know the difference between a rock and a ficus, man. I get so lost in the conversation.
It's about 17 millimeters. DRX though, they might have had a central position, but Yangon Galacticos getting aggressive, like Max was saying on the desk, trying to take that from them and immediately taking down one of the South Korean players there, losing and going down to 3. Smiles on the chase as well. He wants more.
He wants more, and he might get it. Shots potentially connecting, a bit shaky. It's far out there. I don't blame him, but he at least says, hey, I'm still here. You cannot take any respite. You cannot rest. Keep on going and get out of our location. But the question is, who else is going to be around him? Because this is a pretty tightly contested area. You got YG, you got Reginald. You also have, of course, Weibo, who's going to be just up ahead. Now they're honestly going straight into Falcons, who are going to be just below them, who might be rolling up into them.
Could potentially be, but we'll have to wait and see. They're still a couple hundred meters out. That backstop for DRX is looking to be contested. You're right, but it seems like they've fallen short. Up in towards Chumacero, which is where Weibo and Regnum Kaya currently sit. They are less likely to be pushing further south, right? They're less likely to be moving up into these hills right now. It's a difficult ascent when you know there's teams already in there. It will be difficult if it goes further south, but I imagine they're going to look potentially to split around the sides. Currently just looking to hold a little bit more pressure there. They'll have the high ground in Chumacera, hopefully under control, fingers crossed. But for now, they're just trying to keep the teams moving in from that north side out and force them into these coastal rotations.
Falcons in a great spot, looking pretty good. They need a decent game. Feel like they've kind of fallen a little bit behind, but still relatively healthy within the top 9. As we look at their position, the question was, would they be able to see DRX? And they can, way off in the distance, but for the meantime, there's no reason to get antsy. For the teams who are down here towards the island, like, they're chilling. There's no reason for them to engage. There's no reason for them to get too crazy unless you're trying to, of course, overtake one of the hillsides. For DRX even, despite an early loss, losing a teammate, I would still say they're relatively healthy, right? They've got 3 members up. They're still relatively center zone. For them, no reason to get too crazy. Fourth Thrives, though, maybe getting into an engagement with Weibo up top. You got IQ, who's already down and out. The question is, Fourth Thrives, do they challenge once again for the hilltop? No, they do not. They are dipping out.
Alpha 7 are behind this as well, about a kilometer out of this, so could potentially run into this fight if it carries on. But Fourth Thrives, you're right, disengage. They don't want this fight. This is a really good opening for Weibo to maybe look to transition to the hills.
Who's already down and out. The question
on the south side. It's difficult when you don't know the timing of the teams approaching you to try and establish. And with Fourth Thrives backing up, they're going to shunt straight on into Yangon Galacticos. Remember, crashed into DRX earlier on, but they find out just what is waiting for them. They figure it out immediately. They're straight back down the hill.
straight back down. They see it. They dip away. They're gone. Couple of warning shots. Hey, don't come back around our area. We're controlling this hilltop, and Weibo in a power spot for sure, without question. Still very tightly contested. Alpha 7 now starting to get a little bit active coming into where Weibo's at. Of course, a lot of distance still separating them 100 meters, as I just learned from you just a couple seconds ago. But yeah, for the rest of the rosters moving in, you know, it's still going to get even tightly contested up in the northern side, especially if we have a shift up there. Things could get wild for all the southern teams.
It certainly could. It is going to be the South Chumacera Hills, still the focal point. I'm waiting for this second circle to pop before we go a little bit crazy here, because we do have that potential Partona finish. That Minas del Sur area could potentially be on the cards. It's a little bit unlikely. In fact, I would say bordering on impossible, but it could be the case, right? The second circle shift can be pretty titchy when it comes to the cutout on the area. So we'll see where we end up. We've still got about 20 seconds or so before that one comes on through. And we'll have to see where that drops. Could go over to Los Leones as well, or center up on Chumacera to the north.
Find out very shortly. Arena set up nicely inside of a compound themselves. Team that desperately needs to finish these two Miramars strong. Take a peek at the map as it will be transitioning very shortly. Every team very, very healthy. We do have a shift towards the south, which is going to be great for DRX. Honestly, even better for Alpha 7 as far as I'm concerned. They've got Horror moving in, but for Alpha 7, DRX, some heavy hitters still looking strong in this next stage.
I was interested to see if anyone is going to go down to this south island,
like Falcon,
try and head on through. It looks like they might be taking that option, or they could. I think they're just wrapping around the coast for now. But potentially could branch out.
Alpha 7 down to Carrillo as well.
Carrillo, I mean, they're moving. Yeah, they're moving. They're still just on this coastline, but it could be a crash between the Falcons and Alpha 7 on this coastline. Influence Rage trying to send straight on past. Weibo allow them through here and trying to get more central towards Yangon Galacticos. It looks like Regnum Kaya have a similar idea. Teams are moving fast.
Fast indeed. Question is, when do they run into each other? Eventually, they're going to have to. Influence Rage still has a lot of distance between them and other rosters. It looks like Carrillo has backed away, by the way. I got a little bit worried because if you go back to the last area we casted, Carrillo was isolated by himself from his teammates, and that was really unfortunate. You don't want to see too many teams splitting up as much as they do, and Alpha 7 does have a tendency to do that. Granted, typically they hold their ground, but running into a full-fledged unit of Falcons would have been scary for Carrillo, but they get back together. Here it is, Influence Rage, Magnum Kaya also going to be very, very close to each other, but for the meantime, it looks like everybody is settling down.
Loxy defending this new roll-up position for Regnum Kaya, all four of them in the same spot. They're going to look to start to extend their influence over the compound, establish some sight lines. Silas now repositioning on the vehicle, and it looks like they just want to get on the inside of this warehouse. Holding out these sight lines is going to be good news, but actually breaking out back, that's interesting. They're going to try and put pressure to the teams moving in behind them as everybody's still on this mad dash. Falcons, Alpha 7, still safe from one another for the time being, right next door to each other on the tables as well. We'll see if they can conclude it. AXTMG moving in from the east side slow with Team Secret on their south edge.
Yeah, Team Secret's right next to them. I'm sure this fight is eventually going to conclude as soon as they get closer and closer into the next stage, which therefore opens up a potential for a third party. But for Team Secret, trying to stay as close to the edge they possibly can to avoid any potential shots from AXTMG, which surely are going to be coming through. As far as AXTMG go, where do they really go? I mean, there's not a lot of real estate inside of this next stage. They're going to have to fight, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to have to either go through Team Secret eventually, or, I don't know, maybe Fireflux, who's just up ahead of them.
There's also the option of holding and playing for the next circle. The bridge that sits between the South Island and the mainland can play around that a little bit. It does force you into isolation. Team Secret, look at what Team Secret are doing right now. On our minimap, we're looking at Team Secret right now because they've just broken down south side to Partona. You can see that rotation led by Xerus on that south edge. They're looking to try and ruin the day for Falcons potentially here. You do have that bridge approach that you can take further into the circle. It pushes further away and keeps that Via de Mar bridge in the circle as well. Alpha 7 wants more in the center, but this is getting messy now.
Very messy indeed, and Team Secret, all eyes on them because this is such a unique play, something I personally wasn't expecting, and they do have a bit of a piece of the next zone if they do go up towards that left side bridge, as you mentioned, and could be the bridge trolls themselves. We focus in on Influence Rage, who is opposite of E-Arena, and also Falcons, who's been standing up against DRX. DRX taking a couple of shots, but they're going to be just fine, you would have to assume anyways. I'd say that, get out of the car, and unfortunately Sykes is going to drop down, and another one taking too much damage. Now the question is, does anyone take advantage? Well, Alpha 7's a little bit too far away, so they should be able to recover, but my goodness, could it be any slower?
Falcons going to try and take some advantage here. Soez rebuffed from the windowsill. Alpha 7 are still taking shots in the roll-up on Navallo. Makes the cross. Koa not so lucky. Navallo goes down as well, and maybe with the hold, the assist coming through from Alpha 7, the Brazilians playing spoiler to the Falcons approach here. They try and fly on in, but instead they have to divert, head out to the west, but Alpha 7 undone. Another volley of fire, and they aren't going to quite connect on this one, but the damage is done.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and actually still taking damage from a distance, and they're going straight into Hora, as Hora is going to be gunning down Falcons. This is surely the end. Only one more player remains, and Falcons, unfortunately, unfurling right before our eyes, the first team to be eliminated. And you know what's kind of spooky about that? That could have very well been Team Secret 2 if they would have stayed right next to Falcons, because they were at one point and going in the same exact direction, the same path, before Team Secret decided to drop south.
Well, let's see if AXTMG can change the tune, because they're doing exactly that. You could see they are now positioned where the Falcons were. They're looking to push maybe towards DRX, depending, or they could just hold in this longhouse, hold in this compound on the edge of the circle, wait for E-Arena to try and make some moves, or Alpha 7, very unlikely that they move out from their spot right now with how central they are. It is only, of course, stage 3, so they are going to be looking to try and hold things down. AXTMG, I think, had the right idea. I don't think Falcons had to move here. I think it was a little bit of a misplay. They felt like they wanted to be more central, and they paid the price for that.
Teams can crash in, they can go center. We've seen it earlier, right, with Influence Rage, who just went straight on past multiple rosters, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's the risk you take when you play against Blue Zone. It will tank damage away. Obviously, at this point in the stage, it's not too bad, but I think Falcons could really feel the pressure, and once they started taking damage, that first initial fight just didn't work out for them. They just went haywire. They weren't thinking things through, and everything went blank. And, well, once they pushed in, they were done. Hora takes them out. It's really unfortunate because Falcons have played so well today. Still in a great spot, though. Don't get me wrong, top 9. They're going to have to finish strong in the final game. I believe in them.
Power now with 3 players forward, 1 on the backstop, looking to push past Fireflux on the east edge. Another shift out west means that they will have to get a shift on after this circle. But they have to conclude first. Power could potentially divert, but they've got Influence Rage to the south, Regnum Kaya at the front. It is really a cage match right now. Any team could look to try and disengage it, though, on those edge positions. Try and get out of the way, but Power, they take a shot. And again, it's not looking good. Easy falls once more.
Just feel like Power is a team that sits too long. They're too indecisive, and that's what's been doing them in. That's why they're currently and dead last in 16th place. Even in this moment, what do? I understand it's a tough spot. Influence Rage on one end. On the other, of course, you've got Fireflux who's going to be gunning you down. But Power didn't have to be here. They could have made a move. As we do have a zone shift, we still have Team Secret who could take that left-hand bridge. But again, all eyes on Influence Rage, Fireflux, as well as Power, I can't believe they're actually sitting in. They got a knock, and they said, well, it's time to go in and go for it. Take down Influence Rage, and, well, shots are connecting, and Influence Rage will fall. That's 2 down.
Ragnar and Alhaji roll on in.
What?
A rampage as Easy is the only casualty. Esports, E-Arena are moving in from the southwest side as well. They want to take a piece of this pie, but it's just Little Boy remaining. If Power can conclude now, they have a chance against this fight.
Let's go,
and E-Arena
Power.
moving in, trying to take this third party, but instead they just turn, they get a little bit more west, and they're trying to play choke on this fight now. They're trying to slow it down, bog them down towards the blue zone, and take these points.
Power, they can go north, though. They can avoid this entire fight if they choose to do so. E-Arena, though, they most likely want to take this, or they could disengage themselves. It's a question of what they want, but for Power to push it on Influence Rage in the fashion they did, good on them. I was talking about their indecisiveness. They finally got active, and it paid off. And look at them. They're still alive. They're repairing, and they're moving up. This is what we need for Power to turn the tides around.
They are still only on 3 points on the match,
I don't
though.
care.
The placements aren't quite there. Carrillo with the roll-up. They've been tracking this fight on the minimap this whole time. AXTMG had tried to do the same thing, right? DRX moved out, who, by the way, are still surviving as a duo. And AXTMG moved in. Alpha 7, same spray down they made onto Falcons. Spray down again. They pick up those points. They pick up those elims. And now they're trying to take down the stragglers.
Oh, Weibo on Vision. No off and a lot of damage. Taking it anyways. Order. Moving through the smoke like a zombie in the night. Getting the off angle. He's going to be deadly without question. He also coming up. You got to think Team Vision are about to be put into the absolute blender, but not capitalizing on these downs. Go for it, boys. Take them out. Get the finishes. You got a Team Vision member off to the edge. 33Z sees Volt, but can't get the shots needed. Volt lives for a little bit longer, but you got to think Weibo in this spot. Too powerful.
2 players now remaining for Vision in the way. Moving past should be easy for Weibo. They should be able to find these fights, just get these trades. You can't really afford to give too much, though. You're going to have to think about rotating in for the next one. Playing so far to the edge, you need all the mobility you can get. Volt hits the deck, and her can't quite connect the spray down. Has to divert as well. Somehow Never Alone and Volt are surviving this. This is a lot longer than I expected from them.
Yeah,
finally, he's found.
And alone. Fortunately alone, all up to his own devices, up at a distance. Forced to just stay where he's currently at. Volt finally drops, and Vision will finally go down. Weibo wins a critical fight because now they have the dead into the zone and they are all by themselves. Weibo, now one of the favorites in my mind to potentially take this game. Granted, you got a lot of great teams still remaining, but Weibo have been improving each and every game. They've been moving up the leaderboard, and, well, I'm thinking they're going to have a solid finish. Now, for 4 Thrives, Alpha 7, maybe cooking up.
Could potentially be a chance for them to move on in.
Oh, E-Arena too.
E-Arena from the south side. It is a shift up towards the north edge. Team Secret, by the way, still going. They rotate out to that south side. Has managed to play well. They have all 4 players. They had a player as a backstop, but they can rotate and regroup. Alpha 7 now in for a scrap. South side will need to leave this position, but they need to fight this out first. Mafioso on the top floor has the backup for the players downstairs, and Tiny K can't quite get any retribution here. Now just 2 players alive for E-Arena. They're not going to take this fight. They know they don't have the time.
They just deliver over 2 eliminations to Alpha 7 and say, okay, that's good enough. We're going to go ahead and dip out. For Alpha 7, they'll take that all day, every day. And for E-Arena, well, they're still running into some struggles as, fortunately, Terry is going to fall. 4 Thrives to take them. Now, the question is, for 4 Thrives, do they have the wherewithal to potentially cut off Alpha 7's rotation? That is a possibility.
It is definitely a chance here, but they do need to, again, hold their backstop. I think that they're going to be a little bit more chill with it. Alpha 7 looking to try and push through. They may be trying to backfill and sweep out to the east side. It's a pretty difficult progress no matter where you go, but for Carrillo, he's opening up the bidding, allowing his team to move forwards, dropping some smokes, expending that utility to allow them a bit more mobility here. The circle isn't going to be on them for another couple of seconds, so they've got a little bit of time to play with. You can see they're moving up towards that roadside. They've already cleared out all the teams who tried to backfill on that western edge with AX, TMG, with Falcons all trying to make that rotate. They know there's going to be a little bit of a vacuum there, so they know they can be a little bit more maybe risky with that position, with that angle.
We set up the storyline very early in the day for Team Secret. Going south, a good rotation we saw could have happened if they chose to stay neck and neck with Team Falcons. They would have been eliminated. They are still alive and actually thriving as far as I'm concerned. They've had a wonderful day. We'll see if it can continue to get even better. They are tied currently with Galactico in 3rd place, and they've got all the compounds they need in their current location. Now, Joker, he's been a solo for a long time. Carrillo's had him in his line of sights, and you can tell Alpha 7 gets a little bit spooked because they were trying to push up onto the compound of 4 Thrives. Granted, that would have been a risky push, but what kept them in check was Joker from E-Arena, who continues to be a thorn in the side of Alpha 7.
The nades keep on going through. AXTMG, eat 2, a big nade on the overarm there. And that is nasty to have found those elims earlier on the replay. Alpha 7 doing a lot of work to find the punishment. Over towards the west side, rotate up along that coastal road. Falak with the down shots over towards Mafioso, can't quite connect, only sees the buggy. Needs to be worried about the further tiered up high ground though. He will retreat. Nice and sensible there from Falak.
Yeah, without a doubt, Falak. It's easy, right, at times to get tunnel vision and just continue to fire down and lose your line of sight. Keep your head on a swivel, though. He absolutely does that. For DRX, I don't know how this fight even ended up unfolding. It's kind of awkward at the moment, but I tell you what, for the solo of AXTMG, he's given it to the duo of DRX just up ahead. And, well, at this point, right, if you're a solo, you're going for survivability. You're going for any points you can. Masoa says enough is enough. I want to get the finish, but I'm not able to get it, actually. Devo T gets the cleanup and somehow, some way, still swimming, still staying alive, and takes down DRX by himself.
He will have the assist of Team Secret. Off on the way there were those off-angle shots coming on through. A huge amount of suppression being delivered over that way. Really does help him out. But finally, DRX full, so 2nd place out. He's behind us, Joker. He's behind. He's got the nade. Got the cook.
Oh!
Too long on the cook there, and now that's wheat lead.
They don't look at him. Joker could take down the entirety of the Alpha 7 roster. It would be so hard to do. But if Joker gets active, if he can push up with Revo down, Joker, like I said, the thorn in the side of Alpha 7. We've been setting it up, but can he get it? He's going to take down 1. Now you got to focus on the 2. It's going to be over to your right side. He's going to reposition. Not a lot of health, but still for Alpha 7. Takes down, I believe, 1 member. They'll recover, but for 4 Thrives, they smell blood in the water, and they're going for it.
The Sharks are out here, but 4 Thrives have a hell of a task to achieve there. Falak immediately sprayed down. The UMP keeps them safe. The breakout wide for 4 Thrives wants to keep them going, but 2 players now knocked, and they just can't hurdle the distance here with just Noki left remaining. He's tumbling down the cliffside as Alpha 7 get back to their feet. They lost Revo to that off-angle spray down, and that is a big blow to be dealt, but they've still got some life in them.
4 Thrives, can they stay alive? That's the question. They're already in shambles. Carrillo onto Power, and Power's now out. Alpha 7 is this team that miraculously finds ways to get back into the fight with infinite reses, it seems.
They just know how to keep together. They are sticking to it, sticking to their guns. And with 8 elims on this game, Weibo, Regnum Kaya, Nongshim Red Force, the 4-player teams in this one, it feels like they've got a good chance. They are sticking to this edge-style play. I know Seven was talking a lot about how he's expecting them to try and stick to that over the course of this tournament. It looks like it's working out for them here on Miramar.
All right, so Alpha 7 have effectively won the Hilltop. Yes, I can't believe you still got the one solo from AXTMG in the water. I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have, but at least against DRX, he was the Grim Reaper and took them down. 4 Thrives currently in first place, but with only a solo remaining, he's most likely not going to be able to do much. So this gives the opportunity for a lot of the teams who are towards the bottom end of the standings now to finish strong and potentially break into top 8.
Well, they'll be looking for here. On the north side, I'm looking at Weibo trying to get, again, another consistent game, get those points earnings going. Obviously, starting the day a little bit weak, but that second place in the last match may be looking to convert into a first place here. On that northern side, they are fairly alone, fairly isolated, as the final player from AXTMG gets spotted, and Mafioso won't let that one go.
Rest in peace, man. He lived a long time, did his absolute best. It was fun watching him do his best. Michael Phelps out there, but tell you what, for DRX again, taking him out, that's tough. Team Secret still alive, by the way. They haven't done much, which I'm quite surprised with, and they've been now currently gatekeeped by Hora, who I do not believe is going to allow Team Secret to rotate out. So I believe Hora going to take them down relatively shortly. I think Team Secret is going to be out. And Hora then has a pretty good amount of real estate on this left side of the stage.
What? That was from Alpha 7.
Huh?
What? That's all the way on the other side of the circle there.
Yeah, what the heck?
Towards Weibo. Unlikely that this gets flushed out, but Weibo, they're going to be slowed down by this. The circle has moved away from them, and Alpha 7 are a lot closer to it, so a really big pickup here. The Mini 14 for Mafioso is doing bits.
So you got levels to this, right? You got Team Secret who's being gatekept by Hora. You got that Hora who has, really Alpha 7 has infinite line of sights and is also looking down. For Team Secret, good on them. They actually make an attempt, and No Fear is dropped low, going closer and closer to the edge of zone to try and commit for an off angle. I don't know if this was intentional. Maybe he fell down, but Jaiki wants to take it to him, and, well, No Fear's wisely going to go ahead and back away, but that would have been really awkward. And for Weibo, they're setting up for an off angle themselves.
They found that res. They are back as 4, not taking off angle shots. They want to sweep through, control this roadside. I don't expect them to crash down here. I don't think that they want to. What they want is to pick up the pieces of this fight, find these third-party fights, find those elims and try and steal them away. Mafioso spotted by Order in the meantime, but they've got a fight in their own town to deal with. No Fear, still just going for it with the shotgun, despite being on fire. Will not quite connect on it, and will get flushed away. Order getting picked apart in the meantime, but Frankie goes down, leaving 1 player for Team Secret. Regnum Kaya and Nongshin Red Bulls in the meantime on the east side.
They're also in a fight, and utilities starting to come down from, I believe, somebody else off in the distance. Silas, who has so much to gain and earn from PMWC right before your eyes, taking on the entirety of the world up ahead, but the shots aren't hitting. He's fully exposed, and all it takes for Benny to just swing to the right-hand side to take him down. A nade potentially that open up the door to take down Silas. It's thrown. Swing left, my boy. Take him down. Fully commit to it. Don't let him get the reses, but Alpha 7 up top are going to take everybody out anyways.
He has to stick to this monster truck right now. It's a slow-moving castle for him, right? As it stands, it just keeps rolling. It keeps him safe as Regnum Kaya fall before him. Benny now can just chill behind this one. I wonder if Alpha 7 expect there to still be a player behind this monster truck. We'll have to wait and see if they've got that scouting info. But now we're down to 4 teams alive. Benny's still going, and he's going towards the circle.
He actually is. This is incredible. He's happy with this. Continues to squat down. Look, hey, you see it on BMWC, and we've seen already quite a bit climbing towers, using your portable castle, as you called it, right? Going forward into zone. But for Alpha 7, you know they are punishing, and they are looking to punish Benny.
He hopped in, he tapped the brake there into the monster truck, so he's stopped dead. Sook gets spotted. That is a big pickup for Alpha 7 because they're going to need to descend soon. And Weibo had that ridgeline. It would have been broadside if they went for a flat rotate, but they found that opener. The res needs to come through fast for Weibo.
Alpha 7, Weibo, this is it. These are the 2 teams to win it as far as I'm concerned. Whoever wins this engagement are taking it. Benny might have an impact, but we don't know. But for 4 Thrives refusing to go out, even though he's a solo, he is mighty. 4 Thrives fighting till the very end. And, well, with that elimination also gives away his position, but he's fine. I mean, he's alive. Why did Weibo not capitalize?
I mean, they were all going down, right? They tried to cross the road. It felt messy from Weibo. That is unfortunate. Not what we wanted from them. Up the top now, Alpha 7 have 2 solos to deal with. The circle will close dead center on this one. We're into stage 9, into nearly the 29th minute now. But Benny I just wonder if he's safe from Alpha 7, not because of his position, but because of the knowledge that they have or don't have.
It's weird for him, right? Because you got 2 solos, and well, now we're traveling. Look at it, Naki's out. 4 thrives. He says, man, I got to dip a little bit. But there is still a world Alpha 7 doesn't win this if things get weird. And Benny is holding on tight to what he's got. And does Alpha 7 know Benny has left this monster truck?
This is the thing. I don't think they do. The 2-player crash that they just did felt like they were rolling onto a solo. They'll know it's 2 solos alive. They'll know where Noki is from the gunfight. It felt like Carrillo and Squash thought that he was in that ditch amongst those vehicles. He was not. And now they're confused.
They are, because they're fully focused on 4 thrives Naki. Benny, they have no idea Benny's here.
Mafioso.
Oh, Carrillo as well looks to be cooking a nade, going straight. No, he throws it over there, but direct. Squash ends up throwing a nade over here. The shot's going to ring out. And Benny's going to be exposed. He's going to get taken down. Mafioso finally hits the shot, and now it comes down to a 3v1.
Noki with a chance here for 4 thrives, but it is a slim one as Alpha 7 look to try and maintain their title towards the top spot. It's a battle for first place, but he's found Mafioso. He's got the flash. Carrillo as well. Noki, no! How can you do it to him? They want that first place, well, you're gonna have to prize it from his cold, dead hands. Squash with a chance now, and he's able to close it down. Finally finds it, but my God, what a run they gave him.
Oh my gosh, and you could see the relief on Squash Boo's face. Squash, the new addition to the Alpha 7 roster, such a heavy burden, such a momentous occasion. In the lap, you can see how relieved they are from a guaranteed win to just really winning by the skin of their teeth. An unbelievable finish, but for 4 thrives, I mean, they've got to be happy with that result. Such a tremendous performance, but still for Alpha 7, give them their flowers where flowers are due. That is 2 wins out of the 5 games today, matching DRX's performance.
A brilliant result for Alpha 7 there. They played edge beautifully from the south side. They controlled the rotations of teams like DRX, who are going to be their chicken dinner tied up places, kissing that PMWC logo as well. Defending champs, beautiful stuff. They controlled Falcons in that game. They controlled AXTMG in that game, and they control 10 placement points onto the tables. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the desk very shortly to set up for the final game today.
Dear PUBG Mobile fans, we are delighted to invite you to the 2025 PUBG Mobile World Cup at the Esports World Cup in Riyadh, KSA. This exciting event will take place from July 25th to August 3rd at the Boulevard City. We've prepared tons of event perks, such as the PMWC Avatar Frame, Esports Passion Set, esports passion parachute, and tons more items. Let's check out how you can get all these rewards. During the tournament, go to the Pandora event page via Lobby, Event Center, Esports to join the event. Mormon from SEA, Top from CSA, Pedrinho from the Americas, Silas from the EU, and Prestige from MENA will guide you through the 5 major parts of the event. They consist of tournament celebration, prediction rewards, esports shop, themed outfit, and champion challenge. Join these activities to earn rewards and collect esports tokens to redeem even more gifts in the esports shop. The more esports tokens you collect, the better rewards you'll get. You can get up to 2,870 esports tokens from the prediction event. It takes place from July 23rd to August 5th and consists of 3 stages that coincide with the tournament: group stage, survival stage, and grand finals. During the group stage, get 20 esports tokens by predicting the 8 teams you think will advance directly to the grand finals. Each correct prediction will grant you an additional 60 tokens. Make a total of 3, 6, and 8 correct predictions to get 300, 680, and 720 tokens, respectively. You'll get another chance during the survival stage to guess the other 8 teams that will make it to the grand finals. The rewards are the same as the group stage. During the grand finals, you must try and predict the ultimate champion. Just predicting will grant 30 tokens, and a correct prediction will grant 400 tokens. If you're unsure about your predictions, you can let your friends' predictions guide you. Find someone reliable, copy their predictions, and wait to be rewarded. The 3 prediction rounds take place on July 27th, July 30th, and August 3rd at 10:45 UTC 0. Rewards are issued the second day after each stage ends at 4 a.m. UTC 0. You'll receive esports tokens based on your prediction results. Note, esports tokens don't expire and can be used in future esports events. Who do you think will be the ultimate champion? Join the 2025 PMWC event and share your predictions. Invite your friends to join the predictions and watch the tournament unfold.
Nice.
Well, we didn't get the Alpha 7 one, the reaction of the 2 wins that they have had today. But if we did end up getting it, it would sound something like this. Do Brasil! What were you going to say?
Go, go, go! Popping off those games.
He has been popping off. He's popping off with the Mini 14. Hell yeah! You like
it's
it?
very high pitch. Like,
Hell yeah!
That just came out of nowhere, so that was weird.
But a team that, I mean, a lot of question marks where we're being questioned for Alpha 7. People were saying, okay, is this team going to be able to pop off? Is this team going to be able to maybe defend the championship? Are they even going to make it to the grand finals via group stage? I feel like they're shutting a lot of people up right now.
Well, they're certainly beating the, they play slow in the first day.
For sure.
They're beating those allegations 100%. That is really something that's really, really improved from them. I love to see that. But I love that they're a team that once they know they've got a good thing going, they just go for it 110%. They knew that up there on top of that hill, they had the perfect opportunity for a 30-point game. Didn't quite happen, but they got there very, very close.
Would you say they go for it with 19 eliminations?
Could have been.
Yes, it could have been 20. I mean,
it's just very satisfying to have a 20 elimination chick.
Well, you really wanted it to be 20 max. I think I ended up saying I think they're going to be just one short because of what Weibo was doing there. But for Weibo Gaming, good back-to-back games here as well.
Yeah, finally. Finally.
Yeah.
Because sure, they got themselves still a good angle earlier on the last angle of the day. It was very much because of the circle, right? That was just shifting on them time and time and time again. No, here, they actually went for really good high ground control.
Yeah.
Early rotations from Chumacera. They might have to fight with Chumacera actually versus Alpha Gaming when they fight their group. That would be interesting, but very good execution overall. And I'm very impressed by the fact here that Sook is out damaging Order and 33Z that normally are 2 of the main fraggers on the team, but no, the IGL Sook is here bringing the heat with that damage and the limbs. So intrigued to see if that's going to keep on going, if that's going to be a trend for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, something that we don't really tend to expect there from Sook. Even though we know that he's able to do it, especially with the caliber of players that are currently within his squad. With Order, we know that he's currently fighting for the trophy of being able to be the GOAT. of PUBG Mobile Esports if they do end up winning PMWC. I feel like that would be the case. I don't know about you guys. This is the conversation. Don't worry, we'll talk about this once we end up getting to the grand finals, if they do end up making it there. But some of the other teams that you guys were talking about too, Hora Esports, Max.
They played Valle del Mar exceptionally well.
Yeah.
They understood no one's going to really come from the backside onto our position. They almost had team secret, I think you want to talk about later on here, Nep, but they understood we need to start thinking about how we're going to leave the city. So guess what? We're going to send all of the players to the eastern side of the road, making sure that we can have an easy access to the circle and get a really good entry point off the back of that. So I really appreciate how Hora played it this match. Am I seeing over 3.1k damage here? From A7 on, is that one game?
This last game.
I mean, okay, when you think about it, actually, with the Mini 14, you are going to get a ton of damage because of that zoning capabilities of that weapon, so it makes sense, but they were accurate as hell on those shots.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, for this team, for Alpha 7, they were telling me today, Neptura, that I asked them, which one is your favorite map? Which one do you think you're going to end up performing really well on? At first, they were like, Sandhog. And then Rebel was like, no, Erangel. And then at the end, they were like, Miramar 2. I was like, okay, you might as well just add all of them.
Just say all three.
It's just all three. Although I understand why why Miramar might be their favorite map in some cases. Because of the Mini, you can just use it to such an extent. You get a good bit of high ground up there. You get that Mini going, and, you know, we saw the results just there. So very, very good stuff. I love that the Mini is coming back, though. I mean, you and I are big... I mean, we all three are big proponents of the Mini 14. It's so nice to see that coming back into esports. It's really, really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, shotguns are still meta.
Yes.
They're going to be meta until the heat death of the universe is still going to be meta, possibly. But it is very good because you're kind of preemptively avoiding fights early on by damaging teams. You're taking care of their helmet, of their vest, of their resources because they've got to heal up, also got to res their teammates. So it's very good if you're just using it, that zoning teams away. And in this case, it was very effective for A7.
Well, Max, you don't know what's coming up. Nobody knows what's coming up. But it is a segment we would like to call Maxman Grenade of the Day.
It's Maxman's Grenade of the Day. Are we doing this?
Yes, we're doing
okay.
We're doing this.
Guys, this is Maxman's Grenade of the Day. We're looking at AXTMG going for the push onto Falcon. The nade being cooked up on the side of Falcon. It comes on out, and he nades his own team. Yeah, he gets everyone all at once. Absolute utter destruction. And that is why that was Maxman's Grenade of the Day.
There you go. I knew you would be ready for but a team that you guys actually were mentioning earlier as we're going to be moving on from this one was Team Secret. You really wanted to talk about this team, Natura.
I did, because they're doing something that's a little unorthodox, perhaps. Ooh. I feel like it's odd. I'm not really sure how to feel about it, but I will say they are doing this weird, like, 3-1 split. They're making an anchor point, which is very standard for this level of esports. This is the standard. 3-1 split as an anchor, but they're using it to actually kind of hedge their bets and go, oh, we're not too sure this is going to work, so we're going to keep one player off just to be safe. One player in the water, one player off in a shack somewhere. It's a little bit odd for me. They did make a really nice rotation round onto actually the small island, so they were able to do some really good stuff there and actually obtain a bridge play across back into zone behind Hora. But it was just like this split thing. They've done it in the last Miramar now into this first last Erangel into the first Miramar. It's odd because there's not anything coming out of it except kind of a few placement points, like 2.
It's like a good idea, but the execution tends to fumble a little bit.
I just don't know where they go with this.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask you one thing about Team Secret, because you're talking about the way they rotate onto the island. What did you think about when they went for a little bit of a swimtation, or they just swam across into Valle del Mar behind Hora? Because I think the game plan was to just deny information, right?
Yeah, I can understand why they did that. It was quiet. They were trying to be very quiet. They're trying to be very sneaky. They did lose a few time points, maybe. It took a little bit longer. But that initial trio push was fine. They did that either swimming or on a boat. I'm not sure which one, but they did end up doing that without any issues. And then their solo player, their anchor player, did come up over the bridge in a vehicle through the blue. Yeah. So yeah, it was that I can appreciate.
And they do end up fighting, I think it was Hora on the eastern side of Valle del Mar at some point. And I want to call out Hora.
Yes.
Oh.
They let him out. No Fear in a 1v2, and they're like, they didn't even try and help him. They were like, No Fear, you're solo in this fight. You're getting no assistance, because they were getting third-partied by WBG eventually, but I thought that they would try and give in some kind of help, but like, no Fear. you better be scared now because you're taking that 1v2 while you decide to do so.
Sorry, Max.
Oh, wait, what?
I'm just reacting here to the overall ranking, especially after that last match. Remember, Fourth Drives had a healthy lead. That has been cut down, and Alpha 7 has now pushed to that first place with 55 points.
Okay. Okay, so... Wow, sorry, hang on. DRX coming in with 19 elims with 2 wins. Alpha 7 with 2 wins, 34 eliminations is a crazy stat to have.
Yeah, I mean, we did see only 1 placement point outside of the chicken dinners for Alpha 7. There's a little bit of a scary prospect here as we go to the second page, and it goes away.
You see what I saw there, too, from Power? Power, all of their points are just coming in from eliminations. We'll see maybe in this last match they're going to be able to clutch up some placement points and some more eliminations as well. As I send it over to Reflections and John Allen.
As we take a look at Alpha 7, the previous winners of that Miramar, we have another one on the cards. We'll see if they can repeat that performance here, but there are plenty of other teams looking to try and change the story now. A pretty dramatic circle set that we had at the start of that last match. I think it's safe to say, especially that hard south shift to kick things off.
That's it, yeah. Falcons punished, right? And I think I look at them to potentially be the team to make an impact. What would have happened if they didn't run into literally 4 or 5 teams as they tried to full send it into the zone? And well, I think they could have made a deep run. After all, this is the first time Team Falcons will drop below top 8. So you know they want to break back in, but it takes this one game, this final game of day 1.
What's interesting about where Falcons were is that I think they could have sent 1 player down to the South Island. I think it would have been potentially a good call for them. You can hole up, you know you're not going to be shot from that far side. You've got 2 positions. You've got a crazy isolated and safe off angle. Maybe Team Secret sweep it away, but I feel like they could have tried to change that fight a little bit. Unfortunately, they're not going to have the opportunity to. You can see all of our beautiful players there on that multicam. Nice stuff. All 64 of them locked and loaded into the plane, heading on over Miramar. From Tierra Bronca over towards La Guerra. You can see those overall rankings as well on the left-hand side of your screen. I know it was pretty rapid back over on the desk, and they were gambling to get through it. But we get a little bit more of a leisurely pace to look at this one.
That's it. Alpha 7 taking first place is huge for them. You know, during the America season, I felt they dropped the ball. I really did. 3rd place, barely making it through a North American roster of the Wolves with Coops and Co. Like, nearly dethroning the previous Esports World Cup champions. So Alpha 7 finally skate by. They get top 3 in Americas. They come into today, at least in my mind, with a lot of questions, which have now been answered. Are they going to perform well on that stage? Well, absolutely the case. They've won 2 out of the 5 games today. They could very well go 3 out of the 6. It's absolutely a possibility. And a Carrillo leading the charge in most eliminations is really awesome to see, because you already know Squash is going to perform well in the elimination category. He had the 2nd most eliminations during the PMSL America season. Then you also look, of course, on the opposite side, you have Revo, who you know can slay out. Yeah, he's a little bit quiet today, but make no mistake, he's always going to be that guy. And the Mafioso with the highest damage. You've got 3 dominant players who are controlling the stat lines across the board.
Absolutely, you've got to look out for them. You've got to make sure that you're ready for it. Are we going to see any hot drops, any early elims here? It looks fairly disparate between all of our teams right now. Maybe potentially over on the southwest side, Galacticos and TRX could come into conflict. But other than that, Alpha 7 Falcons.
That's interesting, isn't it? Alpha 7 Falcons. You've got one who won the club championship trophy from an organizational standpoint, and Alpha 7 who are looking to reclaim the throne, and we're already getting it underway. But I love Falcons' elevation. Carrillo, being where he's currently at, he's got to focus down low, but the question is, does he have his head on a swivel? Yes, he does, and he'll know there's going to also be a Falcons member up top. But I think Carrillo, he's going to have to fight hard out of the spot. If he doesn't, he's down now.
The strategy I think Alpha 7 want to go for here is dissuade this fight from occurring for as long as possible. You see the 2 players behind, they're going to be looting through, they're going to be gathering a lot of resources, and they are so important in these early game fights. If you find first aids, you're basically a god on these hot drops, so they're going to be looking to try and find that. Falcons a little bit more crunched in, a little bit more penned in by Carrillo's forward position, aren't going to have as much of an opportunity to go for that util, to find those meds, those stims, those things that can really change the tides of these fights.
Ralph, Narvalo, I mean, just so much going in the way of Team Falcons. I think they're looking great. I really do. And honestly, this fight should stalemate, if I had to guess. I don't see the reason why either one would want to really go at it this early on, especially when they understand what's at stake, the final game of the day. But let's face it, Team Falcons losing this is going to hurt a lot more than Alpha 7 losing this, right? So Alpha 7 can go in this fight kind of free and clear. They know they're well within the top 8. For Team Falcons, they're not. They need...
They definitely do. It is, as you say, something they can't afford to let slum them. Just like Falcons are going to continue. I mean, a fight for El Pozo. Between these two teams, seems like they're fairly committed. Grabbing a little bit more. It's burning time for this looting phase as well, which is what we ought to always talk about when it comes to these hot drops, especially on Miramar. Rotations take a little bit longer. You do need to get on the road spot. This is possible. Mafioso thinks he's got enough to be getting on with, does have a med kit in tow, and will be able to get all the way up to the top, get that. High ground unchallenged.
First shot. Oh, I thought the first shots were about to ring out. Mafioso, good trigger discipline. Because the question is, does Falcons know where Mafioso is currently at? So if they go to let's say Falcons get a knock on Alpha 7 and they go to transition right to capitalize on that.